Okay, so today it's current affairs class 6. So let's start with the science and tech related current affairs. So first, try to answer this question. Yes, ubiquitous computing. It is also like a broad term. Considering recently they're asking broad terms from this technology part. They're asking broad terms like metaverse. Okay, so from technology, certain broad terms are being asked. So in that part, in that aspect, you have to know ubiquitous computing. It is almost like similar like IoT only. Like in last class also, if you remember in science and tech class, I gave you one word related to almost similar to ubiquitous computing. What is that word? Not exactly. Edge computing as such, it's not ubiquitous. Okay, ubiquitous meaning is like everywhere, right? Everywhere. Yes, everywhere. So ambient intelligence, I think, like we discussed in the previous SNT class. Okay, so this ubiquitous computing is similar to the same ambient intelligence. Okay, so IoT ubiquitous computing or even the ambient intelligence, because IoT already so it is asked. So definitely these type of words they can ask in the exam. So ubiquitous computing is nothing but see every aspect of your life will be connected. Okay, and every product also will have some computation capabilities. Okay, like for example, watch will have some computation capabilities. The laptop will have, phone will have. Okay, everything will have something related to computation. Okay, so even the shoes also nowadays, are you seeing any chips in the shoe? Okay, shoes also are connected to devices. So in this way, literally every aspect of your life will be connected to, yes, variables you can say. So every aspect of your life will be connected, especially through computing. So that is called ubiquitous computing. Okay. So also known as pervasive computing is the idea that computing capabilities are built into everyday objects and devices everywhere. And ubiquitous computing is a concept of using small internet connected and inexpensive computers to help with everyday functions in an automated fashion. And there is one more name for this ubiquitous computing, which is also called pervasive computing. Okay, so these are the words if you know, and yes, any word can be asked in the exam. Next, with reference to polypropylene, commonly used in various industrial household products, consider the following statements. Try to answer this question. Okay, so polypropylene, first thing, polypropylene, why it is in use? Recently, quality control order. Okay, every time when government wants to restrict certain, especially plastics or pesticides or insecticides, there is something called quality control order. Okay, so whenever this quality control order is in use, especially the words which are given in this quality control order, they are very important for the exam. Okay, so recently they are saying that quality control, especially for polypropylene and polyvinyl chloride, some news is there. Okay, it is deferred till June 2025. Now, anyways, examiner will not ask you exactly that quality control order or something. They'll ask you the basics of what is this polypropylene. Okay, so polypropylene is used to manufacture food containers, like all the basic plastic containers which you see, especially for food like yogurt and all. They are basically polypropylene, okay, because it has high heat tolerance also, and also often used in packaging of food that can be heated in microwave. So even in microwaves also, what basically the plastic which you are using is polypropylene, because it is highly heat tolerance. It has high heat tolerance. Even in fact, some surgical devices and implants are also polypropylene is used. Now, already I think polycarbonate is asked in the exam. In which context polycarbonate was asked? Any idea? Very recently, in which context polycarbonate was asked? Because polycarbonate also is used a lot in plastic containers. BPA, yes, very good. So bisphenol A question was asked, I think, recently in 2020 or 2021. So bisphenol A, basically, yes, that polycarbonate contains BPA. Okay. Now the question I asked you here is, it is BPA free. Now, is it a right statement or wrong statement? Polypropylene, is it BPA free? So the difference is basically between polycarbonate and polypropylene is it is BPA free. Okay, it is BPA free. Remember again, the difference between polycarbonate and polypropylene is basically BPA free, whereas polycarbonate there is bisphenol A. So this is the difference you have to know about these two products. Okay, and the statement is right. So what is the answer here? The answer will be 1, 2, 3, and 5. And from where it is derived? Polypropylene is derived from petroleum. Okay, so it is derived from. So as such, it is not kind of biodegradable. Okay. Next in news is this: insects find their fellow mates and other things mostly through smell or by specific type of secretion known as pheromones. Very good. So this pheromones has been in news recently in the context of pheromone dispenser. Okay, in PIB also there is an article on this pheromone dispenser. So a newly developed sustainable pheromone dispenser with a controlled release rate would bring down costs of pest control and management. So here, okay, this is a dispenser. Okay, a pheromone basically they are called has the kind of love hormones, and like this can definitely disrupt the mating cycles of the insects. Okay, so in this way, this pest management is achieved through pheromone dispenser. And you just try to remember the bodies which have developed it. Like one is Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, and other is ICAR, National Bureau of Agriculture Insect Resources. Now, some extended aspect you have to know for the exam is what are this first generation, second generation pesticides, third generation pesticides, or fourth generation pesticides. So here, basically, first generation pesticides are pyrethrins. Okay. So first generation pesticides are pyrethrins, second generation are organophosphates, third generation are pheromones. Okay. And next coming new generation pesticides will be juvenile hormones. Okay. More or less both are hormones. Okay. And mostly they are organic. Can I say it's an organic way to control pests? Okay, it's an organic way to control pests. So these two are this coming this next level, next generation pesticides like pheromones and juvenile hormones. Juvenile hormones are also almost same. They also regulate production, development, and accordingly, they are trying to use for, yes, biological. I mean organic in the sense biological. Okay, so you can call it as organic pesticides or I mean biological biopesticides. Okay, you can call them as biopesticides. Next, pyrethrins and organophosphates. Pyrethrin is a first generation pesticide, whereas second generation is organophosphates. Now let us see a bit, and you can see here. See, this is the basically pheromone. Okay, pheromones which releases certain pheromones, and insects get attracted to it, and this is a kind of trap. Okay. So next, with reference to pyrethrins, consider the following statements. So try to answer this. Recently, in some of the exams, these questions have been asked, especially pheromones and what are this first generation, second generation. So that is the reason you have to know this pesticides as well. Okay, so pyrethrins are synthetic insecticides widely used in agriculture to control a variety of pests. This is wrong. Synthetic. They are not synthetic insecticides. Okay, they're again bioinsecticides only, widely used in agriculture to control a variety of pests. They are not synthetic. Okay, I'll explain that. Next, yes, sometimes they are considered as highly toxic to aquatic organisms, and this statement is right. So pyrethrins, they are a class of organic compounds normally derived from chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum, you have idea, right? Chrysanthemum plant is there. So from that plant, they derive these pyrethrins that have potent insecticidal activity by targeting the nervous system of the insects. So it is an organic compound, first of all, and is derived from a plant. So pyrethrins. And pyrethrins are gradually replacing organophosphates and organochlorides as the pesticides of choice because it is biopesticide. Okay. And one more thing you have to know is it's not that we are using it now. From thousands of years, these pyrethrins have been used as an insecticide. Okay, so this is also a unique fact you have to know about pyrethrins. So these are the three facts, important facts. Now, yes, they can actually gradually replace the present the synthetic pesticides and all. And it's yes, it has been used from thousands of years, and basically it's not a synthetic. So easily they can confuse you by giving opposite. So it is not a synthetic insecticide. Is it clear? Everyone clear? The first generation, second generation, third and fourth generation. Okay. Next, the term attractive targeted sugar baits, and this has been recently given in WHO. There is one article in that, and in that article there are certain technologies, and in that technologies this word has been given: attractive targeted sugar baits. So sometimes in news is related to what? Okay, so see, in B and D, more or less, yes, you will have doubt in B and D only, more or less, fine. But again, I asked you to match maximum keywords. Maximum keywords. Try to match maximum keywords. Always do that. Try to match maximum keywords. See, first of all, here also pest control is there. Here also pest control. So mostly the answer will be related to what? More or less, it will be related to pest control itself. Okay. No, but now other keywords are also there, right? Attractive, targeted, sugar, baits. Now this baits and sugars also has to match. So which keyword you will match with this? Sugar baits. Sugar bait. Very good. Feeding habits, exploiting feeding habits. Very good. So always try to match maximum keywords, and that could be possible answer. Okay, so basically it is nothing but a technique to attract PBK not is again pheromone. Okay, pheromone. It's a technology for pheromone. So attract to targeted sugar baits. So current vector control tools are indoor centric. Okay, some of the control vectors controls tools are basically indoor centric. But for outdoor, especially attract to targeted sugar bait and outdoor bait station to attract and kill mosquitoes. They broadly consist of oral toxic component, sugar component to encourage feeding on the ATSB, and a center component attractive to mosquitoes or other targeted vectors. So in this way, they have created a system to attract mosquitoes. Okay. So in this way, they may ask you a simple question like the term is related to what? Okay. Is it clear? Next, with reference to optical communication technology, consider the following statements. So try to answer this. Basically, this question is based on your visible light communication technology question, which was asked in 2018. As far as I remember, it is asked in 2018. So based on that, this optical communication, you try to answer this question. Why it is in news? I'll tell you why this optical communication is recently in news. Okay. So let us just see the first information and then you can try to answer this question. So, see, optical communications use light as a means of transmitting information over long distances. First, simple knowledge, like yes, it uses light as a means of transmitting information over long distances. Sends data across space using lasers instead of radio frequencies. So basically, we are not using radio frequencies here. We are using lasers. Okay. And another name for optical communication is nothing but laser communication. Okay. Laser also is same. Okay. Laser communication. You can call it laser communication as well. And optical communication benefits include being faster, more secure, lighter, and more flexible. Okay, compared to radio frequency or radio communication. So basically, see here, all this come under the radio optical spectrum. And one more thing, see here, gigahertz. Gigahertz ends here. So optical communication is what? What is this T? Terahertz. Okay, so in the exam also just look for that word at least. Okay, so in this is statement one, right? Optical communication typically uses electromagnetic waves in the frequency from 3 to 300 gigahertz. Definitely it is wrong, and it will be right for what? Kilohertz to gigahertz. It is basically used by this frequency is basically used by which wave, which communication, optical communication or radio communication? It is basically used by radio communication. And for optical communication, what is the keyword should be there? Tera. Okay, terahertz has to be there. So just that you try to remember. So accordingly, you can choose in the exam. So these are the basics which you have to know, and this is the spectrum. Okay, of this optical spectrum. Even this visible light communication, which was asked in the exam, comes under optical spectrum itself. So they may ask a different question from the same PYQ. So you can see here, it's just a demonstration here how optical communication can be used, especially for Mars exploration. So whatever signal that comes from Mars through laser, Okay, and again it will be sent to Earth through a laser. Okay, so this is a laser-based communication. Hmm. So what are the benefits I have given here? You can go through properly. Like it is secure. Why it is secure? Because optical communication terminals use narrow beam widths that RF systems and provide smaller illuminated footprints that improve security by drastically reducing the geographical area where a communications link can be intercepted or received. So generally radio geographical area, it is spread over the geographical area, right? Radio communication, whereas optical communication is not that, it's pinpoint. Okay. So it's point to point communication. So it less chances of eavesdropping. Okay. And whereas bandwidth is very high of optical communication, so you can see here for radio communication per second, it's 5 GB you can transfer, whereas how much you can transfer for optical communication, laser communication, almost 200 GB can be transferred per second. Okay, and 50% less mass also, like radio frequency Q band, it will be almost you need terminal and all, the size of terminal also very huge, whereas for optical the size of terminal also will be less. So can we say that especially for exploration such as Moon or Mars, optical communications are better? Okay, definitely yes, because it will take less space compared to radio frequencies. Okay, now try to answer this question. Okay, now coming to the fourth point also. Fourth point I haven't given in the slide. So fourth point is basically, as it is a point to point, okay, and it is basically light. Okay, so when we are talking about light, is it light? Basically, it's light only, right? Laser communication. Already we have seen the spectrum also. So basically, it's light. So now tell me, will atmospheric condition like fog impact or cloud will impact laser communication? Definitely, yes. Okay, so this is a simple understanding you need to have. Okay, so laser communication, yes, definitely it is being impacted by fog or cloud. Rest, I think you understood and accordingly try to answer. Technology is highly susceptible to eavesdropping. Is it susceptible? Just now we have seen point to point. Point to point communication will be there, less susceptible to eavesdropping. Yes. Okay, we are expecting that some question has to be asked on communication this year, and like recently in the Mars exploration missions and all, this laser communication is being talked about a lot, and it is there in the news. So definitely UPSC examiner will be interested in asking this question because already you have a PYQ as well. Okay, so this is a PYQ, visible light communication. Any idea why this question was asked that year? Anyone? There was current affairs related to communication. If you remember, there was light-based communication, Wi-Fi, something called Li-Fi, light communication. Yes, Li-Fi was, so that is basically based on visible light communication. So that is how they are asking. They will not ask you exactly current affairs. Like Li-Fi was there, they will not ask you Li-Fi. They'll ask you the basis of that current affairs, which is visible light communication. Okay. Next, Bharat portal. Try to answer this. Nowadays, internal security questions also they have asked 2024. So that is the reason we are including some internal security questions as well in the exam. Okay. So here, see, First of all, tracking and surveillance of all fugitives within India. Okay, this does not make sense. I told you primary functions, certain times they'll give you bit illogical functions. Okay, so here clearly see in the first what it is trying to say. It is developed by CBI to integrate with Interpol's global network. So it is basically an integration with the global network. Okay, that is the major purpose of Bharat Pol. Okay, it is like Interpol, like Bharat Pol. Akhil, that I'll explain later. Okay, primary, same thing like main focus. They'll say main focus, but they may give you completely illogical thing or a very narrow function. Okay, so functions have to be remember very broad. Okay. So basically, it is a integrated portal for like all the entire all the states police can have will be connected to the Interpol global network through Bharatpol. So this is the main objective of this Bharatpol portal. Again, I'll repeat, the main function is basically to connect all the state police to the Interpol network. Okay. So now, for example, if there is, let us say from Delhi, they want to raise some red corner notice, Delhi police, easily they can do through Bharat Pol or any state. Like if Tamil Nadu wants to do it, it can also do using Bharat Pol. Now they are basically connected to all the 195 countries. Okay, the portal allows for immediate broadcast of red corner notice to all the 195 countries which are there in Interpol. So it facilitates real-time information sharing and cooperation on crimes such as drug trafficking and human trafficking. Okay, so this is for real-time information. This is a very broad statement. See, it facilitates real-time information sharing and cooperation on crimes such as drug trafficking and human trafficking. But here it does not make much sense. Is immediate. No, immediate is not as such a keyword, right? It has to be in the PYQs for you to consider it as first of all a keyword. Okay. So we don't consider it as a keyword only. Okay. So Bharatpur was developed by, is it CBI only? Yes, it is developed by CBI to connect with Interpol. The 5 key modules of Bharatpur basically connect Interpol notices, references, broadcast, and resources. Okay, so they are the 5 key modules. So 5 key modules are there, and real-time interface that will enable seamless and effective communication among the agencies to enhance crime control measures. So basically, the main function is this. What is the main function? Is it tracking fugitives or is it basically communication? Okay, it is effective communication among the agencies to enhance crime control measures. Okay. And recently, this trial in absentia, provision of trial, this 3 new criminal laws has this provision. Okay, so whoever is absent, like for example, this economic fugitives are there, right? They just uh, flee the country after the crime. So it is becoming very difficult for the country to uh, basically prosecute those offenders. Okay, so now what happened? The new laws, there is a provision enabling that prosecution of the fugitive criminals, even in their absence, through court orders while ensuring a fair judicial process. Okay, so now, yes, even if even they're absent also, even in their absence as well, the case can be proceeded. And once, yes, that arrest warrant is issued, they can use this Bharat Pol, okay, to communicate with the countries. So that is the basic purpose of this Bharat Pol. Okay. So next, in science and technology, like in the recent news, lot of times you will see GPU being used lot of times. Especially, can I say, in the context of blockchain mining and all, GPU is used. Even in graphics also, this GPU is used. So at least you have to know what is the basic difference between GPU and CPU. Okay, so try to answer this question. Okay. So here, the main understanding what you need to have is basic difference. I'll give you basic difference which examiner may trick you. See, GPUs are nothing but, let us consider some like for example CPU is there. Okay, generally CPU has some computational capability, like it has some nodes, consider some nodes, some, let us like say that it has some 8 to 10 nodes or something. Okay, for computational capability. Whereas GPU will have thousands of such nodes, and parallelly they can do the task. Remember that. Okay, thousands of nodes will be there for GPU, and parallelly it can do the task. So that is the major difference between CPU and GPU. But which is better for sequential tasks, GPU or CPU? Sequential, not parallel. This is the major difference between both, and that can be used by the examiner to change the statements. So remember, if they are giving you sequential keyword, okay, then it is CPU. Whereas they give you parallel computational task, it will be parallel word goes with CPU or GPU. Parallel computation, it goes with GPU. This is the only thing you have to remember. So now tell me, GPUs are slower at executing single sequential tasks. Is it true? Definitely, yes. GPUs are slower at executing single sequential tasks. Okay. They are efficient at executing parallel tasks. They are efficient at executing parallel tasks. Okay. There is a major difference which you have to know. So rest of the differences I have given here. Primary function, processing style. Okay. Few cores. Yeah. They are called actually not cores. So we have in CPU, there are only few cores, whereas there are thousands of cores in the GPU. Okay, and fastest completing single task, whereas slower at single task but handle multiple tasks. Okay. Okay. Next, which asteroid is considered one of the most hazardous that could impact Earth? Name God of Chaos. Operating systems, even GPU also will run. Okay, so the fourth statement is wrong. Yes, it is Apophis. Apophis, a lot of time it's in news. In Indian Express also, there is an article explaining this god of chaos. So maybe it is important for the exam. Okay, maybe even if they do not ask directly, at least you should know the concept of this asteroid. Okay, they're coming towards Earth. And recently, what happened? ISRO is seeking to collaborate with EU on its recently announced Ramses mission. Ramses mission is again basically to track this Apophis asteroid. Okay, so track and study the Apophis asteroid. So recently, this is in news. So at least you have to know the basics of this. Okay, so Apophis remains one of the largest asteroid to pass so close to Earth in recent history. Okay, so it's one of the largest asteroid to pass so close to the Earth. And why is it a threat? Because it is on track for a close approach, and its trajectory could shift if it collides with a small object in the space. See, now the trajectory is fine. Now the trajectory is fine. Let us say this is the Earth, and maybe the asteroid is moving in this way and coming very close to the Earth, like 32,000 kilometers or something. But somewhere in its path, later, if it collides with any small object, its path can change, and slowly, maybe its track can also shift towards Earth. So this some possibility is there. So that is the reason this is a very important news as well. Okay. Now, yeah. So it is expected that it will visit Earth mostly by 2029. So even ISRO also want to participate in this. Okay. So you have to know this current affairs. Okay. Next, the term sequencing batch reactor is often used in which of the following? Yes, it is a waste water technique. So recently, Heavy Water Board has it's a constituent of Department of Atomic Energy, has set up a sewage treatment plant, and it is basically called hybrid granular sequencing batch reactor. So they'll just ask you maybe what are these sequencing batch reactors? They're nothing but basically water treatment plants. Okay, and it is developed by Baba Atomic Research Center. So how does it work? Very simple. So basically it is just one tank. In that what will happen? First they will fill. So wastewater is added to a single reactor, then react. Then microorganisms consume organic matter in the wastewater, then settle. The solids settle to the bottom of the reactor, then decant, that is clear water rises to the top and is extracted. So repeat. Again the process will be repeated. So this is called sequencing batch reactor. Okay, so basics they may ask you, simple they'll ask you like it is related to what? So it is related to wastewater treatment. Now sometimes what is happening from this current affairs, there are two things. First thing, they may ask sequencing batch reactor, or they may also ask heavy water board. Now recently in PIB, lot of times heavy water board is mentioned. So they may ask what is this heavy water board? So heavy water board, try to answer this question. Based on okay, heavy water. First of all, let us see heavy water. The basics of heavy water also they can ask. Last time, if you see, I told you hydrogen was there. When hydrogen was in news, they did not ask the exact current affairs. They just asked what is hydrogen or applications of hydrogen. So same thing we'll try to learn from this current affairs as well. So heavy water is there. So first you need to know heavy water. So it is used as both coolant and moderator in the pressurized heavy water reactor. Okay, India is the largest importer of heavy water in the world. Okay, if I say India is the largest producer of heavy water in the world, yes, India is one of the you can say one of the largest producers of heavy water in the world. So heavy water board, a unit of industries and mineral sectors under Department of Atomic Energy, it carries the mandate of supporting the three-stage Indian nuclear power program, and it is one of the largest global producer of heavy water. Okay, if I ask, does India export heavy water? Because recently you have seen these statements like export and import. So you have to know, yes, India also exports heavy water. Recently, India signed an agreement with Argentina, okay, to supply heavy water. So again, that current affairs may not be important, but they'll ask you simple question saying that does India export heavy water or not? Again, another question which can be asked from this type of current affairs is applications. Okay, so consider the following applications of heavy water and deuterium. Okay, answer here is it all? Yes, definitely. Answer is all. Answer is all. It is used in OLED, especially to for brightness moderator. Anyways, you know, yes, it is also used for preservation of biomaterials, and it is also used for development of vaccines. And in fact, deuterium gas is used in the manufacture of semiconductors. Okay, but if I say heavy water is used in manufacture of semiconductors, As such, heavy water is not used. Deuterium gas is used in manufacturing of cement. So this is the difference you have to know. Anyways, in the question I have given heavy water as well as deuterium. Okay. So one more statement I'll ask you. Just tell me if it is right or wrong. Okay. Semiconductor industry requires ultra pure water. Is it right or wrong? Semiconductor industry requires ultra pure water. So recently, a lot of articles are there. So what will be the negative impacts of semiconductors? And yes, semiconductors require ultra pure water. Remember that. Okay, they require ultra pure water, and there are articles on this. Kindly go through once. Okay, next, the Dragonfly mission often mentioned in news is primarily associated with. So we are dealing with science and technology in this week. So we are trying to cover most of the current science and tech topics as well. Especially, I have taken this mission exactly from where Lisa was asked in UPSC exam. Do you remember Lisa was asked in UPSC exam once? Okay. So in NASA website, there are certain missions mentioned, and from there they have asked this certain missions they ask you. So from exactly from there itself, we have asked this question as well. So Dragonfly mission often mentioned in news is primarily associated with. It is basically associated with Titan, Saturn's largest moon, conducting in-depth exploration of Titan, Saturn's largest moon. So what is happening here? Basically, why it is called dragonfly? It looks like almost like dragonfly. Because it is rotorcraft. Okay, rotorcraft is nothing but rotating wings craft. So Dragonfly mission to Saturn's organic compound-rich moon Titan. It is almost car-sized, okay, and it will be one of the first to cover tens of kilometers. Means even hundreds of kilometers is going to cover because earlier no rover has covered such kilometers. Okay, now this is going to cover because it can fly basically. So Titan's dense and calm atmosphere coupled with its low gravity makes flying an ideal way to travel to its different parts. So Dragonfly will cover several hundred kilometers. Okay, so that is the major difference also between other missions and this mission. So Z-mode tunnel basics, it is developed by whom? It can be asked, it is developed by whom? National Highways and Infrastructure Development Corporation Limited. It connects what? That also can be asked. So it connects what? Sonmarg and you can just simply say Srinagar and Sonmarg as well. Okay, if you have mostly they'll ask you in this way only. So basically it connects Srinagar and Sonmarg. Next, Z-Mode tunnel is part of Zojila tunnel project. Okay, and construction of Zojila tunnel at an altitude of 12,000 feet, connecting Sonmarg and Dras in Ladakh. So basically, this Zojila pass it connects which regions? Zojila pass connects which regions? Srinagar and Leh. Very good. Srinagar and Leh. So here you can understand easily. So first of all, here it is Srinagar. If they give you Ganderbal, still the answer is right. Okay, so don't think that they haven't given Srinagar. Even if they give you this as well, the answer will be right because it is basically connecting this and Sonmarg. Okay, so here also you can see and Kangan and Sonmarg. In fact, Kangan and Sonmarg. This is Z mode tunnel. Why it is called Z? Because it is in a the road is in a Z shape. Okay, so the earlier road which is here it is basically in a Z shape. That is the reason it is called Z mode tunnel. And it connects Kangan and Sonmarg. Whereas you can see this is Jojila tunnel as well, which is being constructed. I think it will be completed by next year, 2026. Hmm. So this both basically will connect Srinagar to Dras. And then, yes, it will be connected to Leh. Okay, so these are the basics you have to know about this project. and it is at an altitude of 8,500 feet. Okay, so try to answer this question next. Okay, so North Coil Reservoir basically is affecting Palamu Tiger Reserve, whereas Dongri Dam is affecting Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. Okay, and yes, Kenbatwa river link is affecting Panna Tiger Reserve. So these things are mentioned in a recent article. So all these projects and how they are affecting different tiger reserves has been mentioned. Especially like this Dongri Dam is there, right? Dongri Dam has been discussed in Indian Express. So they may ask you like where is this Dongri Dam, on which river this Dongri Dam is being constructed, or they may ask you how it is impacting, which tiger reserve it is being impacting. Okay, so Dongri Dam is on which river? This proposed Dongri Dam is on which river? It is on Banas River. Okay, you can see here clearly it is on Banas River. So these things you have to know, basics as well as the current affairs. Okay, the term round the clock strategy, sometimes seen in news, is associated with which of the following? Okay. Yes, it is related to energy policy 24/7, especially for renewable energy. Because what is the major issue with renewable energy? Is it round the clock or it's intermittent? It's an intermittent source of power. So that is the major issue. So recently what happened? This round the clock strategy has been adopted by the government as well. So the NTPC has designed this innovative solar hydrogen-based microgrid system to operate independently using hydrogen as an energy storage medium to supply 200 kilowatt of power around the clock throughout the year. Okay, so this refers to an initiative related to energy policy specifically aiming to achieve 24/7 operation. The system will replace existing diesel gensets or at off-grid army locations. And recently in the interview also, in the recent interview, one of the board member has asked, what is this round the clock strategy? Okay. So yes, you have to know what is the strategy is. Next, it is a form of supply that combines storage system such as battery energy storage system or with solar, wind or hydro to meet a demand at a desired availability. Okay. It could be battery or it could be hydrogen as well. Okay, bio-derived foam. Recently, Indian Institute of Science has developed this bio-derived foam. So they may ask you very basics about what is this bio-based foam. So it is nothing but bio-based epoxy resins made from non-edible oils. Non-edible oils. So are they biodegradable? If they are made from non-edible oils, bio-based epoxy resins, they are definitely biodegradable. Okay, that is the name itself says bio-derived from. So they are lightweight, porous, and cellular, and they are also biodegradable. Okay, so they disintegrate safely in landfills without contaminating even the groundwater. Okay, why it is important? They are trying to replace what basically. So this normal foams are there. They are based on polystyrene or polyurethane. Okay, so the firms which are present in the market right now, they are based on two things. One is polystyrene and another is polyurethane. Okay. So now this bioderived foam can replace these two chemicals. Again, basics you have to know because they'll not ask directly if IAS has done that or not. They'll ask you the basics of bioderived foam. Okay, next, recently, this clinical trial which was done on the stem cell therapy, human clinical trial was started, and recently the results are out. So the patients reported zero bleeding in clinical trial conducted by CMC Vellore. Okay. So what you need to know about this, what all they can ask in the exam. First of all, India has conducted the first human clinical trial of gene therapy. This is very important because the keyword first is there. So India has conducted the first human clinical trial of gene therapy for what? For hemophilia A. So hemophilia is nothing but it's a genetic disorder. Okay, it's a genetic disorder where the person lacks the gene for the clotting factor. Okay, so blood basically does not clot. It's a bleeding disorder. Yes, it's a bleeding disorder. Blood does not clot because the gene for that is missing. Understood, everyone? In hemophilia A, the gene that is required for blood clotting is basically missing. Okay, it's a genetic disorder. So now what they're trying to do is, I'll try to explain it in a simple way. So everyone has idea about stem cell, first of all. Stem cells. There are certain cells in our body, okay, which have some you can call multipotent or pluripotent. Okay, so basically they can transform into different organs of the body. Okay, so embryonic stem cells are there. Suppose embryonic stem cells can transfer like can what do you call can transform into, can I say, any organ of the body? Embryonic stem cells. Okay, yes, because they are basically pluripotent. Okay, you can call, or some embryonic stem cells even are totipotent also, means they can transform into any organ of the body. Whereas other things are there, they are called adult stem cells. So what are adult stem cells? Can they transform into any organ of the body or a particular organ or tissue? So adult stems are very particular, yes, to a very particular organ or a tissue they can transform. Now what happened? Humans basically we have in bone marrow we have this hematopoietic. So something related to blood stem cells we have. They are called blood stem cells, or you can call them as hematopoietic stem cells. Now what they have done is they have taken that hematopoietic stem cells, okay, and for example, these are the stem cells. Okay. So hematopoietic stem cells they have taken. So this cell will have some DNA, right? In the DNA, they introduce the clotting factor. Okay. So they introduce the clotting factor. And then again, they transfer the stem cells back to the person. Okay. So simple. First, they have extracted the stem cells. Okay. The hematopoietic stem cells. First, they have extracted. Okay. Then what they did? They induced the factor, clotting factor. Then again they put it back into the human body. Okay. So basically, this is what is done in this gene therapy. Okay. So the cells are reintroduced. Okay, reintroduced into the patient's bone marrow. So this is basically done. Is it clear, everyone? So we are taking out the stem cells and we are just gene therapy. We are editing the stem cells and like injecting the whatever gene is required. And then again, we are reintroducing the same stem cells into the that particular person. Okay. So now recently it is reported that all this like 4 or 5 people are there on whom these clinical trials have been done, and all have reported zero bleeding. Okay. So now the question can be asked in a different way also. They may ask a question on hemophilia also. For example, if you remember, this mitochondria disease question was asked once. The three-parent baby, if you remember, three-parent baby mitochondrial issue. So when it was in news, they asked the basics of mitochondria. So here also they may ask you the basics of hemophilia. So try to answer this question. Hemophilia is an autosomal disorder, and a hemophilic father can never pass the gene for hemophilia to his son. What will be the possible answer? I think you know the options, right? A and R are right, and R is the reason. So the same options. So you can accordingly say 1, 2, 3 is A is correct, R is wrong, and 4 is A is wrong, and R is correct. Okay. So first thing, hemophilia is not a autosomal disease. Okay. It is not on the autosomal chromosomes. It is on the X-linked chromosome. Okay. So we have X and Y chromosomes or XX chromosomes, right? So it is a X-linked hemo. It is not an autosomal disorder. So simply they'll try to confuse you by giving autosomal. First thing. Second, a hemophilic father can never pass the gene for hemophilia to his son. Why? Just now I said it is X-linked. So if it is X-linked, can a father pass it to the son? Definitely no. Why? Because father can pass to the son only Y chromosome. Yes, very good. So only Y chromosome can be passed by father to the son. That is the reason a father can never pass hemophilia gene to the son. Can he pass it to the daughter? Definitely, yes. A father can pass it because to the daughter, he will be passing X chromosome. Okay. So this is the basics of this hemophilia, which you have to know. So it is a hereditary bleeding disorder caused by lack of blood clotting factor 8. So hemophilia is a sex-linked recessive, especially that is X-linked disease, and the defective gene is present on X chromosome only and not on Y chromosome. Okay, so that's it for today. Yeah, we'll try to upload the test by Sunday, and you can give the test. And next discussion, test discussion will take again as per the schedule. Okay, so let's not change the schedule. Last week we changed the schedule because of the festival. Okay, so try to revise the slides, and yesterday also I think I told you how to read and how to analyze the slides, how to analyze the information, and all accordingly. Kindly revise the topics. Okay, so that's it for today. Yeah, thanks everyone. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me on Telegram.